Listen-only mode.
Hello and welcome to today's webinar. My name is Brad Martz and I am the Manager of Education Programs at NRCA. Today's webinar is a presentation by Heidi Ellsworth and begins a 4-part series on sales and marketing for your roofing business. Today's discussion will center around the first step of evaluating your existing marketing plan. A little background on our presenter before we begin. Heidi has worked in the roofing industry for over 20 years. She recently launched HJE Consulting Group, which focuses on supporting overall marketing strategies and implementation, along with providing consulting to build strong collaboration between sales and marketing teams for business profitability and success. NRCA is now offering roofing contractor members sales and marketing consultation through HJE Consulting. And these members now have the opportunity for a 30-minute consultation call with Heidi, supported by ongoing sales and marketing articles, webinars like this one, and seminars. Heidi also serves on the boards of the Western States Roofing Contractors Association and the Florida Roofing and Sheet Metal Contractors Association. And recently, Heidi helped found the National Women in Roofing Association, where she serves as chairperson for the organization. Before I turn it over to Heidi, I want to direct your attention to the questions box that you should have on the control panel on your screen. If a question comes up that you would like to ask Heidi, you can enter that question there in the questions box. Heidi will address your question at the end of the presentation. Heidi, with that said, I will let you take it from here.
Thank you, Brad, and thank you everyone for joining us today. I am very honored to be a part of the NRCA and being able to provide this webinar and all the consulting that we are doing with contractors and NRCA members. So thank you very much. Again, my name is Heidi Ellsworth, and I am the founder and president of HJE Consulting Group. And one of the great things that happened early on in this company was that Bill Good and NRCA asked that I be active with members providing consultations and also writing articles. We actually have a book and we do these webinars. So we'll talk a little bit more about that at the end. But today we want to talk about the very first thing that needs to happen for any sales and marketing program, and that is evaluation. So why evaluate your sales and marketing program? Many of you may be thinking, we know what's going on, it's great, it's fine, but really yearly evaluation of where you're going with your sales and marketing is critical, and especially today. You may be finding in your own hometown that there are new types of competition, possibly from out of your area, new younger groups coming in, maybe just the everyday competition that you have been competing against for years. They are now using new types of marketing that may really affect your business. What it is all about is taking your company and putting that in front of your potential customers. So like the slide, you want to find strangers and you want to attract them to your business. So you need to know what's the differentiator of your business. How are you going to do that? What do people think of your business right now? Because as the strangers become visitors to your website, to your event, to your office, maybe within the neighborhoods where you're roofing, you want them to like you, to kind of get to know you, to have that conversation so that they turn into a lead. And from leads, you close them and they become customers. And once they're customers, you want them to really be the ones talking about you, happy, be your brand ambassadors, your promoters. The only way to really succeed at this type of cycle is by understanding first your business, how it's working, and secondly, what your customers and the community at large think of you, how they look at your brand, and where you fit. So as we go through this marketing program of really evaluating your business and then putting together a marketing plan, that first step, the plan, this is where you want to understand and evaluate your business. How is your brand being perceived? So we're going to start there, and that's really what this webinar is all about today. What is the first step in evaluating your business? It's getting your team together. Getting a leadership team within your company who can really sit down and start looking at the plans. Here's a plan for the house, but what's the plan for your business? And on this leadership team, it can be whoever you think is most relevant in your company to help you move forward. It may be your finance, sales, production, all the managers of those different areas coming together, talking about the messaging, the goals, the mission of the company. It may be you and your spouse. It may be you and your office manager. However, the people who are working with your customers, who are evaluating the processes, and who are helping to influence that brand of your business should be at the table with you as you start doing this evaluation. What are some of the evaluation questions? First of all, is your business currently doing any marketing or advertising? Now, some of you may be laughing, and you may say, well, who doesn't do that? There was times that there was not a need for marketing or advertising, especially for hometown contractors who knew everybody and was referred to the next neighbor and the next neighbor, and it was all word of mouth, and that is the company. So there wasn't really a need for a real strong spending a lot of money on marketing or advertising, maybe a little ad in the yellow pages. But as these cities have grown, as our hometowns have grown, as we have gone regional or even further national, you are finding that it's a different atmosphere. And so you really need to look at what have you done in the past and what are your current business needs. Within those business needs, it may be growth, it may be a new differentiator, possibly going into waterproofing or exteriors. So where does the marketing dollars need to be prioritized? So first, what have you been doing? How have you been spending your money? And now, where is the priority in your business? So this isn't just an evaluation of marketing, it's also an evaluation of your business of, are you happy where you're at? And so you just need to validate and sustain. Are you looking to grow? Are you looking to move into a new market? All of those things are important as you're starting to evaluate your sales and marketing program. And what should be changed? What don't you like? I mean, really looking in the mirror is important, because what do you like about your sales and marketing? What do you not like? If you don't like it, most likely your customers don't like it. So be true to your company. And then ask some questions of, how are we getting new customers? And what are those customers saying? It is so important to understand how you are perceived in the market, whether that is by building owners, by architects, by general contractors, by homeowners. Understanding what they think of your brand will help you build a stronger and more successful marketing program. The last thing I recommend is, and I touched on this a little earlier, but you really need to step back and look at the changing demographics of your market and of your community. You will find, as we all know, many of our communities the population has just grown. What has changed? Is it now a community of baby boomers? Is it a lot of young people? Is it more rentals? What is happening? And what is the competition doing? Are they coming? Do you have new competition that is maybe doing things a little bit different? Using the internet, using softwares, what are they doing? Canvassing, understanding that the market demographics and how the competition is working within that is really critical as you put together your program. One of the things where I always recommend starting is start with your employees. They understand. Sit down and talk to your employees. Try to understand what they're seeing. When you look at a survey of your employees, you really want to see, first of all, do they understand the mission of your company? Do they understand what your goals are? And even more important, do they understand the marketing messages? Many times I have sat between sales and marketing, or marketing and production and operations, and they have absolutely no idea what marketing is doing, because for some reason that last postcard didn't get put up on the bulletin board or didn't get put up on the internet. They aren't liking social media. If your employees don't know what the messaging is and what the marketing and what sales is doing, then they're going to have a hard time supporting that. So as you start surveying your employees, it's very important that you ask them, do they know what the company's goals and objectives? They may not. And if they don't know it, how can they share it? Do they have access to the information they need to do their job and to support that company mission? And one of the ones I love is asking your employees, if you were to share information on the company that you work for with your friends, neighbors, community, what would you say? Because you know they're going to be saying something about where they work, and you want it to be positive. You want them to be your brand ambassadors. If you don't know what they're saying, then you have just, unfortunately, an opportunity that they may not be saying good things. They may not be selling your company and trying to bring that perception in the community to the best possible position. And repeat yearly. You just can't do this enough. These are the folks that are your brand ambassadors. These are the people who are out there in the field who are working for you. They're your best salespeople. Some suggestions when you get ready to survey your employees. First off, have your leadership team, that team we talked about, have that leadership team take the survey. Do they know what your mission, what your goals are? Do they understand the marketing message that's out there? Start there and make adjustments. Make adjustments to the survey. Make sure it makes sense. Make sure you're really getting that information. And if necessary, make sure the survey is available in the language of your employees. We know that there, across this great country, we have Spanish, Polish, Russian. We have many different languages. So there may need to be translation services. There may need to be something so that they really understand that you care and you want to know what they think and what they are saying out to the community. Once you have the leadership team and once you do the survey, you want to start working through those results. Some of them may not be that great. You may be lucky and have the perfect survey come back when everybody is happy and everybody's talking great, or you may not. It's human nature, and we all know that. But now you know, and you're able to work through that with your leadership team and start making changes as needed. From there, the important thing is to work with your sales and marketing team to make sure that they are communicating back to your employees the messaging, the goals, the campaigns, social media activity, whatever it may be, getting your employees involved in what that sales and marketing team is doing so that the employees can support and help be salespeople for your company. Once you have gone through this with your employees and really have a good feel for really where you're at culturally within your own company, you want to start looking then at your customers. And there is a lot of ways to survey your customers, formal and informal. And as many of you know, there is, the basic survey you can send out with MailChimp, or even better, a survey at the end of every job. And I'm sure many of you do this, where you survey the customer and ask them how their experience was so that you can get that feedback and have them rate you, get the referrals, get the reviews. But there's also other ways. Social media is a wonderful way to get that information back, just by being active through Facebook with your community, sometimes asking questions in a way that isn't intrusive but is kind of fun and engaging. You can learn a lot by just watching the comments and seeing what's coming back that direction. Also, social events. Obviously, your trade shows or home shows, ask people, have you heard of us? What have you heard? What are you seeing out there in the market? They like to chat. They like to say, oh, my friend, they built a house, or they had their house roofed, and we heard you were great, so we wanted to come talk to you and see what you could do for us. Those are the kind of things that will help your sales and marketing team as they start hearing that feedback. And it also always helps with referrals. The other way that is very important is whoever is answering the phone in your office, make sure that they are engaging with those customers. Not just taking a message for sales, but really finding out, why are you calling? How did you hear about us? What are you looking for? And it's not just the importance of a qualifier, which is very important, but it's also that engagement, that customer service, that first line of when your customers are calling in, they feel welcome. They feel like people care about what they think or what they're looking for and what they need. And document it. From all of these things, have your employees document those conversations. Let you know as the owner or as the director of finance or the director of sales what they're hearing on the phone so that you can start putting that into the marketing program. And through all of that, you will find, as you engage with the customers with real honest, wanting to hear their opinion, wanting to engage them, that you're going to continue to be recommended. You're going to continue to find that engagement through all parts of the marketing program. Okay, so you surveyed your employees, you surveyed your customers. The other thing too is, I always recommend, one of the reasons that you are part of the NRCA, this great association, is for the networking. There are amazing businessmen and women across the country who are running roofing businesses. So I always recommend that you reach out to them through your association and ask them to evaluate your business. Ask them what they've heard. What are they seeing? What do they think of your recent campaign? What are they doing? An association is one of the best ways to get information from people who you're not competing against. They're probably clear across the country, but you can get great ideas. So once you've brought all of that together, now we need to really sit down and look internally and evaluate the processes. What are your marketing processes? What are your sales process? So first of all, where do we get our leads? This is so important. If you don't understand where the leads are coming from and how they're getting there, there's really no way to improve on that. You're starting with a blank sheet. But you all have successful businesses where you are getting leads every day. So you need, whoever is answering the phone, they need to write it all down. I worked with a contractor out of Portland, Oregon, and they were great. They had a form that they kept right there, and every time the phone rang, they would ask, where did you hear from us? And they would get a check mark, and then they would document it. And so when we would sit down to do a marketing plan, we knew, oh, it's from the trucks. We see everybody's seeing our trucks around. Well, we need to get more wraps. You're able to get that feedback and really start understanding what your customers and your community like. On your website, how did they find you? Use your Google Analytics, and if you're not, you want to really take the time to find some technical people who can help you figure out where those leads are, how they're getting to your website, and then do you have a form on your website? Do you have a way to collect those leads, to collect that data? Because if you don't, you can't be guaranteed they're going to go to your website and pick up the phone. You need to have many ways for them to access you. Cold calls. How are you getting your names? Are you pulling a list from the Chamber of Commerce or maybe from BOMA? Are you homeowners associations? However you're doing that, just kind of understand how you're getting those names. Are they the right names for you? And if you are making cold calls out of your business, what is the closing rate? What's the appointment setting rate? Is it working? Or do you need something a little bit warmer, something that's coming maybe through more of a marketing initiative? Canvassing. Many companies still canvass during the summers with college kids. It just depends on your neighborhood. It depends on your community. And then events, home shows, county fairs, open houses. So, and there's many other ways to get leads, and in fact, our next webinar will focus in on that, all these different ways. But as you're doing the evaluation, you want to be sure that you are looking at every possible way that a lead's coming in, including, and I don't have it on here, but including, are your employees referring their friends and family into the company to get a roof, because that's important too. Again, how do people hear about our company? And I just touched on that with the trucks, but is it referrals? Is it employees? Advertising? Is it a press release? Is it an article about Christmas lights in the local newspaper? Social media? Is SEO? Are you getting them through search engine optimization? Are you buying your leads? Is it a third-party lead generation? Are you getting them from your manufacturers or your distributors? Again, this should all be part of your evaluation. Once you kind of figure out where those leads are coming from, then you really want to take the time to look at the process of how you're handling them. I've known a lot of people, different contractors, who would get a large number of leads, but they weren't getting called back in a timely fashion. They weren't being followed up on. They weren't being qualified. So the leads were there, but they weren't the right leads, and it wasn't the right process in order to take it all the way through a close and into that delighted end customer. So make sure that you're looking at exactly, what kind of service agreements do you have? Are you returning their phone calls within 24 hours? How fast are you getting the estimate to them, and what quality? Are you setting appointments? And are you following up after the job? And as you document this, as you work down through this and document it, you're going to start seeing, oh, okay, I have some gaps here, or maybe not. Maybe, it's all working perfect, and you're just like, okay, we got to do more marketing because we have our channel. We have our processes in place. As you're looking at that process, I like to call it the life of a lead. You need to look at, from the moment that prospective customer, that stranger, picks up the phone or goes onto your website or walks into your booth at a home show, how are they being treated? Are they the inside sales rep going to talk to them first? This could be your receptionist. It could be you. It could be anybody, customer service throughout the company. Then all that information that comes in on that initial call, is it being documented? Are they being qualified? And then how is that being handed over to your sales team? And with your sales team, once they have the lead, how fast are they returning? Do they have the information they need to really entice that customer? And an estimator involved, how is that information getting from the salesperson to the estimator? Now, this may all be the same person too, but again, those processes are important. And even if it's one person doing all this, they should see those processes and make sure that it's documented all the way through. And then how is that turned over to production? Because that's part of the customer experience. If sales has all this information but it doesn't go over into the production, you're losing that opportunity in between. And finally, from production, how does it go back to the sales representative so that they can do the final walkthrough, talk to the customer, and hopefully get referrals for the next job? All of that, if you look at it, you may find gaps in your process or you may not. That's an important part of evaluating where you're at currently. So working with a contractor out of California, one of the things we talked about was he was getting all these leads, and he says they're just not working, and I get too many leads and then I don't have time for them, or I have time for them and I know the wrong leads, and the process just isn't there, and I don't even know what I need. So one of the things we did was sit down, and for many of you this can be very simple and basic, but it's important to take the time to just figure out from a business perspective, how many jobs do you want to do a week? So using this as just an example, say you're a residential company and you have 2 or 3 crews and you want to complete 5 jobs a week. So a job a day. Not pretty aggressive, but I know a lot of companies who do that. And so okay, I want 5 a week. I know, because I've been tracking it, that my sales closing rate is 30%. So that means for my team, I need to set up 17 sales per week, set 17 appointments per week. Now you know where they're at. Okay, well, if we need 17 appointments per week, how many leads do they need to come in? Because we know we're going to lose some of the people at that first step of appointment setting. So from when the lead comes in to the appointment setting, what's that closing rate? How many calls that come in can actually be turned into a meeting for your salesperson? So as you do all that, you can work backwards and you can come to say, okay, we need 33 good leads a week. And that now you can make sense, and if you want to grow and you say we're going to add a couple crews, we want to go to 10, you can do the same math. I know this is very basic for many of us, but sometimes we don't think of it this way. And in that same thing with the sales evaluation, the number of appointments per salesperson. One of this gentleman, friend of mine from California, one of the things that came out of it was he didn't have enough salespeople for the leads, and that's what was causing the problem. So he needed to have the right number of salespeople and the right leads to put all this together. And then finally, if you're going to be doing inbound or outbound calls and you're setting appointments, how many appointment setters do you need? Is the person that you're having do this take the phone calls, do the qualifying, set in appointments? Are they also keeping the books, HR, and some other things? You don't know. You're going to need to look at those workloads, because if you want these leads to come through and want it to be actively and to hit that time schedule, you're going to need to make sure that you have the dedicated time to really put into that. That's as important in a marketing budget as an ad. So what does all this do? All of this really, at the end, puts in you understanding your customers. So through the evaluation, through surveying your customers, through surveying your, really talking and working with your employees, you start building brand loyalty, which in turn does all of these other things. It creates sales and trust within the community. There's commitment. You can add value, higher prices, and in the right way with upgrades, and being able to do upscale jobs. It's kind of that starting point of self-evaluation, business evaluation, and then putting in the processes so that before you even start with your marketing plan, before you put a dollar or a dime into a marketing plan, you know exactly how you're going to handle those leads coming in. And that is something that I have seen over and over again, is that people and contractors will spend a lot of money with ad agencies or with different groups, but they haven't really set what kind of leads they want, who they want to sell to, and how they're going to handle it as it works its way through. If you have that in place, then the next step is going after the leads and knowing what you want and where to go, and that determines a lot it determines everything with your sales and marketing plan. So we, at this point, that is a half hour, and Brad and I did this on purpose, made it a little bit shorter, because when we presented this at the IRE and when we presented it at a couple other places, there tends to be a lot of questions. And so if there are questions, we would love to take those, and Brad will read them, and we'll see what we can do to help.
Sure, like Heidi said, everyone, if you do have a question, enter that now, please. In the meantime, I wanted to remind everyone of a few things. As mentioned earlier, Heidi's webinar today is part one of a four-part series in 2016. Her other webinars will take place in June, September, and December, so be looking for those as we draw nearer. As Heidi mentioned earlier, her next webinar in June will be on gathering leads. I do also want to let you know that today's webinar has been and is being recorded. It will be posted to our NRCA website next week, so you can view it again or pass it on to colleagues. And you can also view, go ahead, Heidi.
Oh, I was just going to say, I also want to give a call out to Karen Edwards, my partner. We wrote this book together, and the NRCA is distributing it. So if you're interested in getting the book, which basically is going to follow these webinars and has a number of to-dos, action items, questions at the end of every chapter, that can be purchased through the NRCA marketing resources, and that's also a place where contractors can sign up if they want to get one-on-one consulting.
Thanks, Heidi. We do have a few questions coming in here. Real quick, I do want to mention, well, you see the marketing resources website on the screen in front of you, as well as Heidi's information, so be sure to take that info down. Also on the topic of webinars on our website, NRCA, as many of you may know, is offering weekly webinars in 2016, all free to NRCA members. And a quick plug for next week, Heidi will actually be presenting again next week co-presenting with the current NRCA Chairman of the Board, Lindy Ryan. They will be giving a presentation on women in roofing. So that is next Thursday at noon Central, and you can register now for that on our NRCA website. Back to today's presentation. Heidi, we do have a question that came in. The question is, what are a couple effective ways to increase new referral partners?
Perfect. Really, one of the things that I would recommend is, as you are trying to increase referral partners, talk to your manufacturers, talk to your distributors, and talk to your contractor network. All three of those can give you some great referrals. I know, especially on this, well, on all, whether it's commercial or residential, the manufacturers spend a lot of money on marketing, on social media, and they get a number of leads and referrals that come in to them that they send out to their contractors. So whoever you're working with, you need to ask them about their programs, whether it's leads or marketing support. Same with distribution. They will get a lot of homeowners who just walk in, and so they can be referrals there. There are also the contractor networks that will help gather leads and will help you may just get them from work. I know on insurance there's many networks that are very good. They get very strong insurance leads to help homeowners. So I would definitely look at what you're doing, again, evaluate which products you're using, and talk to those folks first.
Thank you, Heidi. At this time, we don't have any other questions that have come in. I will talk slowly and stall. But in any case, Heidi, thank you very much for your time today, for your presentation, your expertise. And thanks to all of you who took time out of your day to join us. The website to view recorded webinars, not only today, which will be available next week, like I said, but any webinars that you have missed in the past, those are available free to you as an NRCA member on our website. And you can also register for future webinars on that same website. It's nrca.net/webinar. My stall tactic worked. We have another question that came in. What are some new creative marketing tactics?
I would say one of the strongest tactics that I'm seeing right now for marketing is social media. I know you probably hear this over and over again, but Facebook is a very, it's a force to be reckoned with. And when you are out on social media, you are talking directly to your community. So spending time to get your webpage liked, taking the time to make sure your employees are on the social media and sharing it with their friends and family, and also working with different types of groups. I'm going to give a call out to a group I've worked with that I just think are great, and that's No Roof Left Behind. And they do some great charity work within each community, and at the same time they teach the contractors how to use social media for the gaining business in a way that is a win-win for business and for the community and for people in need. So really kind of what you don't want to do is you don't want to go out there and just say, hey, look at me, I'm so great. What you want to do is be engaged with the community. I see a lot of contractors who put great information on their website about how to protect their homes, how to, during the holidays, the season changes. But that Facebook, the more engaging, think about what you like to look at, and then have your marketing folks doing that into your community. I think that's probably one of the strongest, definitely the strongest and best values out there right now. Again, there's a lot of clever ways of doing things, but on the social media with LinkedIn and really letting your sales team, spend the money for a LinkedIn Navigator account if you're a commercial contractor, because that's how you can get to your building owners. That's how you get to your facility managers. And also watch for the hot trends, especially in commercial. You're going to see that, accounts and companies, they're looking for certain things, solar, reflective roofing. Make sure that you are in your marketing materials, going with the trends out there of what either the building owners or the homeowners are looking for. And that's just really staying involved with the associations and with your network of other roofing contractors and hearing what's happening, because you might be able to bring something to your local community that no one has seen, but you've heard about it through the association.
Thank you, Heidi. The questions are coming in. The next one, do you think that social media is effective for commercial roofers? I can understand how it is applicable in the residential market, but how can it be effective in the bid market?
It is on LinkedIn and somewhat Twitter. Facebook, really no. I mean, you get a little bit of branding from that if a building owner sees it, but really where you want to be as a commercial contractor is on LinkedIn, and really use it. Use it to reach out, post information, talk about service and maintenance on the roof, talk about the different types of roofing that's coming out, because building owners, facility managers, purchasing agents, they are looking for information. They want to know what you know and what can help them with their pain. They have a huge data center. How are you going to waterproof that so that nothing gets through? Talk about that on LinkedIn. There's ways to post. There's ways, you have your company page on there, and then you will also be able to start connecting and finding out what some of your potential customers are interested in. Same thing with Twitter. I'll be honest, I'm not a huge Twitter user. I try to, but a lot of purchasing agents, on the commercial side of the world, a lot of purchasing agents are young women or young men who are using Twitter and don't know anything about roofing. So they're using it. YouTube is another one. They use it to try to find out information, and they many times will find your company there if you're active. So, and it's not hard to get, find somebody in your company. Find some of the young people, interns, summer interns who can come and help set up those campaigns for you and run them. You don't have to do it yourself.
Thanks, Heidi. The next question has to do with marketing strategies that are internal, developed internally, and versus marketing strategies through third-party companies. I guess asking for your thoughts on those two options.
If you're going to be using, so basically the way hopefully I'm understanding that question the right way, but should I hire somebody, a marketing person, to come work in our company, or should we use an agency or some folks on, an ad agency basically, or marketing firm? It really depends on a couple things. One, if you have the resources to bring someone in internally, they are going to be very committed to your brand, to your company. They live and breathe it. And what I really recommend is that marketing person should be part of your sales team. Marketing and sales need to be together. That's how you really get, then you understand. Marketing people should go on sales calls. They need to understand the value prop. They need to understand what the customers care about. And so by hiring someone internally and making them part of that sales team, you can really see some large benefits. And everything that is happening out there today, from websites to social media to email marketing automation, that can all be done. I mean, it's all out there on the cloud, between Hootsuite, which is for your email marketing, or the graphic design, the websites. Most of that can be done by the right internal person. If you are going to go out to an ad agency, what I recommend, highly recommend, is try to work with someone who is in the trades, who understands roofing. It's not easy. Now, you may find a local community person who you can build that trust with, and they can really help you grow your program. But I have seen many, many contractors spend a lot of money educating ad agencies on roofing and really not getting a whole lot back, because there is a certain way. There's a way of communicating it, talking about it, messaging it, whether it's to homeowners or building owners, that takes time to learn. So if you can find somebody, and there are some great national companies who already do roofing marketing, they are the ones that I would recommend first.
Okay, those are all the questions that we've had come in. If you do think of something here in our closing seconds, you can see Heidi's email address there listed on the screen. Again, do be sure to visit the marketing resources page on our NRCA on our NRCA website. Sorry. Well, while we have time, Heidi, we did have another question come in. So,
Okay.
the question is, how do you feel about mass email marketing? For example, buying lists from third-party sources.
You have to be very careful. Mass email marketing, if you are not, if the emails are not legit or not opted in, so we all know, when you go someplace, you say, yes, I want to receive an email, that's being opted in. If you are not opted in and you get this list, and it's not a good list, it can actually blacklist your email, your domain. So if you have ellsworthroofing.com and a lot of emails are going out onto this huge list, and they are bad or they're getting spam, you'll actually get blacklisted. And I've seen this happen, where all of a sudden you're not getting your emails. No emails are delivering on anything, on your business, on your quotes. So you have to be very careful about those lists. I recommend, it just depends on where you're at. If you're in a local community, work with your Chamber of Commerce, work with some of the local groups to start building that email campaign. And one of the best places for you to build your email base database is right out of your file cabinet. Go back and look, and maybe you haven't been collecting emails. If you have not been collecting emails, you need to, but go back through those files, because those are customers. So as you email them, as long as you give them an opt-out option, which is on all email marketing, MailChimp, and Constant Contact have ways for people to opt out, it's okay, because they've been your customer. So you can communicate with them and you can send them information, as long as you give them an opt-out possibility. But I would be very leery. I'm very leery of lists. I have done it in the past. It can be successful, but make sure you do a lot of research and ask a lot of questions about spam and how they got their emails and if they're opted in and what you need. Make sure they're legitimate.
Okay, that's all we have question-wise that has come in. So Heidi, thank you again very much for your presentation. And again, thank you to all of you for joining us today. Enjoy your Easter holiday and have a great day, everyone.
Great. Thank you so much. Thank you, Brad.